Hello and welcome to Victoriana. It's a few days into May and we've actually caught up pretty well through April. Beginning of April was quite a struggle, as you probably saw in our earlier clip, but since then we seem to have got on top of all our packing just about, and production is well underway, and we're even actually having time for a bit of a tidy up now. So yeah, it's still very busy time for us, lots and lots of things we need to get done, and I'll give you a quick run around the nursery. So here in the bubble, we're still pretty chocker. We've actually got round to starting to sort out the fuchsia benches and space them back out after the winter. We're a month or so late on that, but we've literally just had too much on and also needed the space for everything else. Got our first batches of sweet corn now underway and they're going out. Still dispatching things like chilies and tomatoes. On the chilli front, we've actually got all our chilies now potted up into ones, into 1 litre pots. So I'm quite pleased with that, and they've caught up a little bit because obviously they grew away so nicely, and then we had that cold spell which checked them back the other way. So here in the prop, we're still actually completely chocker, and as soon as something's germinated, got underway or rooted through, off it comes, and then we pretty soon fill the space back up. And it's going to be like that, I should think, for the rest of May as well. Still got an awful lot of production to get done, and of course now we're even thinking about for the autumn and even into next year. In the top of the bubble we've also got all our tomatoes potted up now, so these are all our own tomatoes, and they're going to stay in here for another 2 or 3 weeks. We'll start caning them at the end of this week. And hopefully by then the veg tunnel will have been doubled in length. We're going to strip the skin off and double it in length and then reskin it. So obviously we've got to squeeze them in here for the time being as well. So another job that we need to get done. Hopefully we will, and then we'll have a lot more space for our tomatoes and chilies and all the other bits and pieces that we do in the veg tunnel. So out here in the young plant area, we're actually getting pretty tidy now. We've got virtually everything out from under glass and polythene that we wanted to, and we're obviously moving more and more bits and pieces out. The new brassica cage is proving its worth and keeping all the pigeons off, and it's just a case now of us keeping up with the small batches that we produce and getting them grown on and then out the door. So despite so much outside, up here in the top house we're also still pretty full. We were glad that some things we hadn't moved out, particularly tomatoes, etc., because just recently we've had a couple of very hard frosts. So hanging on has actually paid big dividends this year. But yeah, so there's lots of bits and pieces in here. We're still pretty full, getting stuff out as soon as we can, hardening it off, making the space, filling it back up again. So despite us being a little bit late in getting anything actually underway in the veg tunnel, it is proving its worth. It's not as full as it has been in previous years, but we did sort of run out of time. But we've been picking asparagus from in here. We've got some Douce Provence peas that we're also picking. Beans are just coming up. We've been doing well on the lettuce front, etc., and some of the other sort of green veg, etc., and all the strawberries are actually coming into flower now, so it won't be long before we have some straws. But as I say, this is due for a reskin anyway. We've got a couple of holes in it we've patched. I don't think it'll make it through another winter, so we've actually decided that we're going to double it in length this year, which will give us a lot more room for our tomato and chili trials and everything else that we produce in here through the summer months. So that is a job for the next few weeks. Hopefully we can clear this out, get the skin off, get the new hoops in, and get it all put back together in time for us to move the tomatoes in. So one thing that did go to plan this year was we managed to get all the fruit in quite quickly. I'm not going to get much closer than this. You can see the hives in the foreground here, and yesterday one of the colonies split and swarmed, and Simon's going to collect that later on to rehome them, but obviously they're not the most cheerful today, so I'm not going to get up into the top field, don't want to get too close. But no, we were pleased how things went. Everything went in the ground. The weather was nice to us for a change. We didn't get soaking wet. And then of course we've had some nice rains to water everything in. And similarly on the vegetable garden, after being a bit concerned at the beginning of April that we were so behind, the last couple of weeks we've managed to romp ahead. We've got 2 of the beds prepared and we've got quite a lot already sown and in. The pea cage is going up today. Pretty soon we'll be moving the brassica cage along to replant. And yeah, no, so quite pleased really. We're well underway out here, just what we wanted. Now of course down here in the flower garden area, this was a bit of a disappointment earlier on. The continual wet and the grotty weather that we had meant that an awful lot of our autumn plantings didn't come to much. But we've managed to start tidying up now, and it's actually quite surprising what is cheering up and starting to look quite pretty. So as much as we've got some fresh bits to put in, we're going to let some of this go a little bit longer and actually put it on a bit of show for us. So I'll finish off this month's clip in the packing shed, which is obviously one of the busiest areas at this time of year. As you can see, lots and lots and lots going out. This is a day's packing in here, or a couple of days packing. And thankfully, with the extra help of our new team members, Shannon, Joy, Emma and Dan, we seem to be finally catching up all round. So yeah, busy month, and it will continue to be busy, or hopefully it will, and we'll catch up with you at the beginning of June.